Good evening, everybody. It is time for Christmas. Christmas is coming. I'm so zesty and ready. Are you
You don't
zesty and ready?
sound ready.
What do you mean I don't
you're
sound
like,
ready?
you're like, oh yay, it's
Oh yeah,
Christmas.
it's Christmas. It's
Hooray.
Christmas. I'm still defrosting, just like Mariah Carey. Okay, I'm still defrosting. Anyways, I'm Aqua.
I'm Elvish.
Today is going to be a fun book. It's one of my favorites, and very, very, and heavily underrated. I swear, this book is great.
It is a very underrated book, and to be honest with you, I have choice words about it.
You know, I know you have very special choice of words for a group. For me, well, I guess they're technically the same for me, but it's just the fact that this book that we're about to talk about was is so painfully underrated. All because it's not the same as the others, but it still provides quite a bit of substance.
It really
But hey,
does.
but hey, that's just a theory. My theory. Anyways, we're talking about Court of Frost and Starlight as part of the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. This was by far one of my favorite ones. I'm already ready to give out my rating.
Oh, I'm already. Yeah, if you want to give out your rating, go for it. I'll follow suit.
Oh, it is definitely 10 snowballs out of 10 snowballs.
Absolutely.
Yes. I love this book. I mean, a lot of the other like ACOTAR books, even like the ones after and before, they have like a lot of action, a lot of things like that, but this still provides like a lot of like insight to the characters. And this is what post war,
It
I
is. It's
believe.
post-war with Hybern.
Yeah, this is post war with Hybern, so there's people, you don't get a lot of stuff post war that just talks about the downtime, the in between, people like dealing with the aftermath. Normally it's like time later and then boom, right into the next thing. But this actually serves as the in between, um, and kind of like the I guess ramp up, or I guess kind of a segue into the
Like the
next one, which is
gateway.
Silver Flames. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. So it gets that time between. Like it's like a filler episode, but it's not like Dragon Ball Z where it's just nonsense.
Right. And you know,
It's actually
surprisingly, this isn't what I was gonna talk about, which I know I'll like talk about what I wanted to discuss later. But it has become such a trend on TikTok just to shit talk this book for no fucking reason. Like half the people
uh,
don't even read this book. They just simply say, "Oh, I saw someone else say this book sucked ass and then it got 10 million views. Let me do the same." And it's just so obnoxious to me because they
it is
don't understand
stupid.
how fucking stupid they seem. Like if you're that person doing that for like clout and for views, you are fucking stupid and you should get your account taken away. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't like it either. Like why? I mean, okay, sure, it's not as action packed as the other ones, but it still provides substance to the series. For those who like really care about a series, and if you don't read this book because of what someone else says, clearly you don't actually care about the series. Because this provides a lot of depth, it provides more to the world and more depth for the characters. And sure, you can technically skip this book and go to the next thing, but more stuff makes sense
You
when
also
you read
get
this
kind
book.
of like it's kind of like what you were saying too. You kind of get a little, I guess, starter on Nesta and Cassian, which the
Hmm.
fifth book, which right now it's the final book. Yeah, there are going to be two more, but as of right now, the next book is the final book, and that's all Cassian and Nesta. And by skipping this book, you miss everything that leads up to the way they are and why they are, how they are in the final book.
Exactly.
On top
Sure.
of the House of Wind and all of that. Like you miss absolutely everything in regards to how that is. I don't know.
Basically, how their relationship is, why they acting the way they are, why they are the way they are towards each other. And I know there's like a lot of Nesta hate going out there, cough cough, but at the same time, you kind of see why. Sure, you get to know some of it in the next book, but this gives a little bit more. Plus, if you're still Team Feyre and Ray Ray, you still have some of that in here as well. Plus, you get some more stuff about them that also kind of helps out towards the end of the next book too. I ain't gonna say too much yet.
Well, and
But
then
you know,
another thing that comes out too, a lot of people didn't like the final book because it was in third person rather than the um, first person that the other books are in. However, this book specifically jumps between first and third person depending on who's talking. If it's,
yeah,
I believe it's Rhysand and Feyre, it's first person. Cassian, Nesta, Elaine, it's even Morgan, I think it's third person. So it kind of
yeah,
gives you a tiny bit of feel for how the final book is going to be. So obviously if you think, or if you're one of the people that say, oh, the fifth book, it just came out of nowhere with the narration. No, it didn't. It's just you were one of the people that decided to judge the book based off of TikTok. Like, you
exactly.
literally just told on yourself.
And for my understanding, there's kind of like what I would say there's a bit of a narrative reason for it, because the Akatar series it's mainly through the eyes between the two main characters, or I guess the original characters being Feyre and Rhysand, because those are the two who are the heavy hitters of the book. Don't get me wrong, everyone else is just as important. And on the very first book, with Akatar, Thorns and Roses, obviously is with Feyre and Tonkatruk. And so, Feyre and Tony the Tiger, they were the main focus until it was Feyre and Rhysand.
Right.
And so it just makes sense to have those third person. Plus, if I remember correctly, and even said in some of the other podcasts, Sarah does a very good job in terms of using perspective to get certain meanings across. At the same time, giving little kind of like hints in a way of kind of how things may or may not go,
Right.
or even very like, how should I put it? I wouldn't say, more like teasers in a way, because with certain characters in certain perspective narratives gives different substances to behind their meanings and their actions.
Well, and we've said it a billion times before. Sarah is a very particular person. Even if she says something 4 books in advance, she describes things a very particular way. So whenever it does finally come around time for her to drop the ball on whatever it is, she will then describe it the exact same way she originally did to allow you to put 2 and 2 together. So she is a very particular person when it comes to her writing style. And I don't think a lot of people understand that.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about the series, and this is why pretty much the series as a whole so far for me. I'm kind of giving this kind of um grading early, or completely forgot my rating. Yeah, my rating for the whole series is literally a 10 out of 10. It is the best
Right.
series I've ever heard slash listened.
Right.
I just
I
said that
agree.
twice. Yeah, read and listened slash heard all that good stuff. Breathe in. It's just amazing. I love the style, the way, like you mentioned, she says things in a certain way, and then when she brings it up again, to drop that bomb on you, does the same thing to create that link. And then the best part, a lot of other things that were similar in the way that they were described also happen to be linked in some form or fashion. And even if
Exactly.
it's small, it makes that tiny little impact that's like, oh my god, that makes sense. Or it causes theories to be like, oh, maybe because of that it comes this, and then this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. And that's what I really like about the series. I can go on and on about this.
We
And
really can.
even Frost provides some of that too. Like, of course, so you guys know we do spoilers around here, so don't be crying if we give you a spoiler.
Which, I mean, that's what I was
But
going to say anyway, because we're not even giving them any context on what this book is even about.
exactly, which is funny.
Well,
But I kind of want to skip towards the end yet, so let's go ahead and talk about the book first.
yeah, so let me do a really quick rundown for everyone. So basically, this is the Christmas episode. We just finished the war with Hybern. We ended up losing Daddy Ray Ray. Rhysand ended up losing his life, to save Prithian. The High Lords ended up coming together and resurrecting him as they did Feyre, which I'm still stuck on the fact that Helion in the last book said, "You are not human," or "You were human, it was different." So I'm kind of curious on what that means with Rhysand. However, winter solstice, it's the longest night. out of all winter, basically. It's also Feyre's 21st birthday.
Mhm.
Um, we
Sometimes I
basically,
forget how young she is. Sorry to interrupt.
honestly,
I forget how young she actually is when
well,
all this
exactly.
happened with Highburn and under the mountain. It's
Mm-hmm.
insane.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt. I keep forgetting that part of how old she is, and she's young.
she is very young, and um, well, I mean, kind of skipping ahead a little bit, I'll go back, but that even puts a little bit of anxiety in Rhysand's head because he's like, bro, like I'm over 500 years old. She's turning 21. What if she's stuck like my mom was? Because his mom, I think, was 1819 when his father was 900. The thing is, Pharaoh's not stuck at all. And like it kind of
Yeah.
gives him like some weird anxiety. But going back, this book is the Christmas episode, as I said. It is the holiday episode where they basically go around. They are shopping for one another, which is really nice. Feyre finds her love for painting again. She ends up making friends in Valeris, which is pretty nice. She ends up later on in the end helps kids learn how to paint, all that good stuff. There's a lot of rebuilding of Valeris after the war on Highburn. They ended up coming in, if you remember, and they wrecked Valeris and the Night Court, so there's a lot of rebuilding there.
Mhm.
Yeah, we find out that Varian, the Prince of Adriata, is in love with Amryn, and obviously it's reciprocated. We end up having some more with Lucian. We end up having a little minor verbal argument with Rhysand and Tamlin. We have a very phenomenal snowball fight.
Which is
And
so funny.
oh my god, it
Three
is so funny.
grown ass ancient men just having a good old snowball fight. Ugh.
Honestly. And then at the very end of the book, we have Winter Solstice, which is basically their version of Christmas. They all sit around, have a dinner, open presents. We'll go into it, but Nesta's being Nesta. She finally does come around, ends up leaving. Yeah, that's basically
Her,
it.
yeah, her little apartment, and it's also known there was a little more detail with the whole Nesta thing, and it kind of like leads up to the next book. After the whole war and everything, she gets a lot of, I guess, like PTSD, so to speak, and it really gets to her, especially after seeing her father's neck just snapped and right in front of her by the King of Highburn, and her feeling of powerlessness really got to her. And at some point, Amryn and Nesta had like a big old fight, and they're no longer besties anymore.
Yeah.
And so she ends up secluding herself. She basically goes to the slums, goes to live there versus with everyone else, away from everything, and pretty much just lose herself to booze and the horizontal tango and things like that. And it's a lot of like self-pity, but given everything that she's done, she's been through, it's kind of warranted in a way, all that PTSD. Because if I think about it too, she is pretty young as well.
She's the oldest, though.
She is the oldest.
She is, yeah.
But she's rarely treated like the oldest. Feyre is more like the eldest sister, and she's like the middle child.
She's the
Elaine
youngest.
being the youngest. Yeah, that's right.
Feyre's the youngest.
Feyre's the youngest. I always think that Elaine is the youngest, Feyre the middle child, and Nesta the oldest. But I always mix that up because it's just the way how they act.
Right.
Elaine always gives off, smallest sister energy. Nesta is the older sister, but gives off very bratty younger sister energy. And while Feyre is actually the youngest, gives off older sister energy, the responsible one.
Right. And, kind of like going off of what you said too, everyone lives together pretty much. There's, if you've read the book, there are multiple houses in the Night Court. Everyone basically lives in their respective houses, except for Amryn. She has her own apartment. However, with Nesta, she quite literally went to the slumps, basically. She picked the worst apartment that there is, and she resides there. Which I think just goes based off her personality as a whole anyway, because she's doing everything, in my personal opinion. I know that she went through a lot, and I understand that she has a lot of trauma, but she's doing that self-pity thing that I know Aqua mentioned, and she's wanting to do the absolute most to then later throw it in everyone's faces.
Pretty much. She does let it get to her quite a bit, and usually I'm team like defend Nesta, poor Nesta. But there is a point to where like, okay, yeah, all right,
Like, it's enough.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard given having your dad's neck snapped right in front of you, but putting up on everyone else is not warranted.
Okay,
You
but
know?
at the same time, I mean, I'm gonna argue that. I understand having your dad's neck snapped right in front of you, but I mean, let's just go through all of it. Feyre had to be the one at age 14, mind you. She was the one outside risking her life, hunting animals, cooking all the animals, skinning the animals, putting food on the table. She was also the one that was taken away to the fairyland of Prithian. She was the one that was kidnapped. She was the one that was held against her will. She was the one that was put under the mountain, tortured, abused. She was the one that had to go to war and had to face, even though Nesta was at war too, she had to be the one to go to war almost every single time, because even when it came to the war in Adriata, she was there. When it was the war in Valeris, she was there. When it was the war against Hybern, she was there. Nesta was only at the war of Hybern.
Yeah.
So this whole like Nesta deserves better, Nesta this, Nesta, no, she fucking doesn't, because she literally didn't do anything. She had one bad thing happen to her in the entire series, and now she's playing victim and crying wolf. And I'm kind of fed up with it, because I know Feyre has literally gone to the end of the world, quite literally died, and has come back, and still not even a thank you, fuck you, kiss my ass, you deserved better, you deserve nothing. Like, that shit irritates me.
Don't get me wrong, I'm also on that boat too. I'm kind of like in the teeter-totter between the both,
You know what? I think Tamlin deserves a redemption before Nesta. Nesta can kiss my ass.
We're not going to open that kind of worms about talking rock. All right? Tony the Tiger, Little Tykes, just now. Maybe at some point when he does something redeemable. I mean, sure, granted, he did help out. He does help out quite a bit-ish.
I mean, that's more than you can say about Nesta. What does Nesta do? She fucking cries over booze and says, "Oh my god, my life sucks. I'm an angsty teenager. Oh no."
Let's wait till the next book before we make that discussion. And I mean, like, the next book, I don't mean Silver. I mean the book after that one. Sarah J. Maas finally makes it and publishes it. We're still waiting. Anyways.
Well. Anyway.
But no, I agree with your argument as well when it comes to between Feyre and Nesta. Feyre went through so much. I mean, Nesta at least had a moment with her father before he died.
I mean, Feyre literally didn't even... Exactly. Feyre didn't even get a hi, how are you?
Exactly. Didn't get anything from her.
And Feyre basically had to watch her dad's neck get snapped from the cauldron. She basically saw everything that unfolded from the cauldron.
Yeah, she was literally busy trying to stop everything while that was happening. And dealing with the cauldron, that amount of stress alone is it's nearly impossible. But she did it, of course, being the main character. But at the same time, seeing your father dead like that, and not even having the moment to even just be with him.
Right. Because I mean, the last time she being Feyre, the last time she even saw her father was easily like a year prior, and it was from...
Wasn't it her to lead to the Feylands?
She ended up seeing him when she was in the Spring Court, but it was the monster trying to lure her out of the Spring Court gate. That's the last time she saw her
Yeah,
father. If we're talking about her actual father, the last time she saw her actual father is when Tamlin took her away. So it was
yeah,
literally a year and a half, 2 years at that point when she hadn't even seen her father. And yet Nesta, I understand. I understand. Like, watching your parent die does something to you. I don't feel like Nesta has the right to constantly play victim the way that she is doing. It's
yeah.
too much. It's too
It's
much.
it's especially against Feyre, especially against her. She's the least person out of all of them to take all of that BS from Nesta.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, um, oh, that was some heart lemonade. Um, I guess moving a little bit forward, because we have a lot to talk about Nesta, and Nesta's gonna actually come back towards the end. Um, we learn a little bit more. So in the, I think it's called like the Rainbow Town. I think that's what it's called. Um,
I think it's called just the Rainbow.
Rainbow, right?
It's the
So
artesian place, like
yes,
section of Belarus.
yes. So unfortunately, one of the, I guess, shop owners didn't come back. So Feyre has been using her at the time at this time of the book, Feyre's been using her um, art studio so that she can start painting again, all that good stuff. She has been invited across the street to go to a painting session, I think one night with one of the, I can't remember her name right now, and I'm gonna hate myself for that.
All right, talking about the I think it was oh, I have it right here. It's Ricena.
Yes, thank you. She even said that she has never been spoken to so comfortably since becoming High Lady, since when she's in the presence of her, and I love that so much.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I love this book and just all the interactions. You get so much.
yes,
Even sure, there's small side characters, but it's good to have that sense of continuity. I can never stop talking about the feeling of continuity, the feeling of actually being
yep,
immersed. Immersed is what I love so much, and Sarah J. Maas just does a damn good job, especially in this
absolutely.
book because it has all the small stuff that still gives out pretty decent information. But again, I'm just literally repeating the same thing over and over again because it's just the truth, just how I feel.
And I need to phrase this a certain way because if you have read the next book, which obviously we haven't recorded yet, you know exactly who we're talking about. But we finally meet um an almost main character, Emery.
Mm,
She is a shop owner in, or I guess nearby the Illyrian camps. Her father unfortunately did not come back from war. She
yeah.
unfortunately did have her wings clipped, so
Mhm.
Cassian is not too fond of that. Cassian does go in. He buys as much winter gear as humanly possible and then pays her to deliver them in time for solstice so that the families in need have stuff to keep them
Something.
warm. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah, I love all these small things. It
Right.
provides just more about their characters and then also just a good segue of bringing out future characters as well.
Exactly.
It's just I just really love the writing. Love the writing and the storytelling. Just loved all of it.
Right. And then we end up going to the Spring Court. Um, I believe Morgan's father is planning on crossing over to the human lands. To which, of course, Rhysand is like, you can't do that, buddy boy. But of course, they're like, you can't really stop us because the only court that borders the human lands is the Spring Court. So you might want to talk to Tampon about it. So
Yeah.
we end up going to the Spring Court. All of the flowers are dead. None of the water fountains are active. Um, the walls are completely cracked. The furniture is fully destroyed. He has shaggy hair, no servants, no sentries, nothing.
Completely
Um,
made us.
he is completely down in the dumps. Um, he ends up poking at Rhysand a little bit, and finally Rhysand is like, you know what, fucker? I'm not taking this shit anymore. and he fully kicks Tamlin while he's down, and he leaves. And luckily enough, Feyre is not mad about any of it, and neither would I. I would not have been mad about it, but he kicks him while he's down, and I absolutely adore that. He deserved all of it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, sure, they could have had a small moment. I mean, Rhysand at least, forced him to eat like a savage, pretty much.
Yeah.
Just eating dead elk, just pretty much. I think raw at that point, just basically just raw meat. But
Well, yeah, because even at
even
that
then,
time, I mean, even at that time, Lucian, he wondered where Lucian was. Lucian was actually outside of the spring court, um,
trying to feed him, basically.
hunting for Tamlin's food, basically, because he had no servants, he had no cooks, he had nothing. It was literally just him alone in his court.
And he refused to do anything for himself, too.
Right. He's basically pulling the Nesta card, and I am so fed up with it.
Yeah, I can tolerate Nesta being Nesta. Maybe not her being Nesta towards Feyre and Emran, but Tampon, no. Not warranted.
Well,
Homeboy ruined it for himself. All I'm saying.
Yeah, I can, and I'm the other way around. I can somewhat tolerate Tamlin because of the slight redemptions that he's had throughout Wings and Ruin. But other than that, nah, I'm good. But I guess super quick, because we're still trying to do like the summary and we're talking about it. Feyre does end up coming past a weaver, who ended up making a tapestry out of just pure void once her husband died in the battle against Adriata. So it was pretty cool to see quite literally a void woven into, I guess, like a tapestry type thing.
Mm-hmm.
We do get presents from Rhysand to Feyre, and of course we can go over those later. Later on throughout the book too, we get Feyre's birthday cake, and I kind of wanted to discuss that for 2 seconds.
Cake is always good.
Yeah, so at the winter solstice, we already know that the winter solstice is Feyre's 21st birthday, so not only is it Christmas, but it's also her birthday. Gotta love it. They did everything they could to hide her birthday cake from her. Rhysand brings out a birthday cake that was fully made by Elaine, but fully decorated by Saradwin and Nuala.
Yeah, Nuala. Yeah.
Oh, I did that the first try.
Nice.
Fully decorated. It is a 3-tier cake. The top is all flowers. The middle is all flames, and the bottom is all starlight, which, if you remember going back to A Court of Thorns and Roses book 1, that is the exact order that she painted the dresser in their room. The flowers symbolizing Elaine, the fire symbolizing Nesta, and the nighttime, like the night stars, symbolizing Feyre, more importantly symbolizing Rhysand. And the part that makes me tear up so much is because Elaine finally in the book, we're 4 books into it, Elaine, in the best way possible, finally said thank you to Feyre by saying she wanted Feyre's on the bottom layer specifically because Feyre is the foundation.
It was so sweet.
Listen, I tear up. I'm so teary-eyed right now. Like, that shit is beautiful. That is the first time we ever hear an Archeron say thank you to Feyre.
And probably the best way possible too, and one of the best birthday gifts ever.
Honestly, like, it was fantastic. I guess since we're on this topic, Rhysand did get her a sketchbook, a blue scarf, specifically so she can stop stealing Morgan's, which was hilarious. A satchel for her paint supplies, and the satchel had her monogram on it, and it had Ramiel on it, the mountains with the 3 stars. which
Oh
also
yeah.
not only comes from Valeris, but it matches Rhysand's tattoos.
And his heritage too, as well, and
Correct.
everything about the Night Court too, because that's also part of the Night Court symbol.
Um, and then we're almost done. There is a section where, like we said, there's a snowball fight. Rhysand and his two amazing warriors decide to spend the entire morning away on winter solstice. They end up basically telling Feyre, Morgan, Amren to have fun, you know. Come to find out, Morgan takes Feyre to see the Illyrian tradition, and you have 3 500-plus-year-old men behind snow forts throwing snowballs at one another.
Best scene ever.
Honestly. Which then wraps that scene up with, I'm assuming because they've been outside for 8-9 hours throwing snowballs at one another, they end up going into a sauna. Feyre and Rhysand, you know that they have the telepathic, talking down the bond thing. They end up talking down the bond. She ends up making him salute, if you know, and gets him kicked out of the sauna. So in the distance, you
Eggplant
literally, yeah.
Eggplant emoji. There you go. Figure it out.
So with this part being said, I originally read the book, like the first time I read the book. This time I listened to the dramatized audiobook. It's so funny because you can just hear in the distance Rhysand banging on the door. Hey!
Hey, let me in. Let me in. Because he just left him out in the cold, too. That's what's even funnier.
And then
I love moments like those. I just love those type of moments. It's so good.
I really do love them because they, like, just moments like that, you get to see that they're human beings. Well,
the people too.
Fae beings, rather than just Illyrian warriors.
Yeah.
But then even this, like, kind of, well, saying with the plot really quickly, Lucian actually does come to winter solstice. He decides to come to solstice rather than being with Tamlin. Tamlin is just, so he ends up coming over to winter solstice. He ends up giving Feyre and Elaine some presents, and then he leaves. That's fine. This is now winter solstice. They're now unwrapping gifts, laughing, drinking, eating, all that good stuff. And this is the first time you actually full on see our Shadow Singer genuinely laugh.
Oh yeah, he showed some basically, for those who probably don't know, or maybe you probably do know, but you do realize that that Asriel doesn't really show much emotion.
Never.
For the first time ever, he showed emotion more than usual. And I think even in the next book, he shows a little bit more, but this is the most he's shown in all of the books.
Like, he actually did a full-on belly laugh.
Yeah, it was great. From
basically,
Elaine, no less.
Right? Yeah, because Elaine and Lucian are mated. You know my stance on that. If you've seen the other videos, I don't believe that's accurate. I think that there's a cover up there. Whatever. But Elaine and Asriel kind of have a little something going on, and she goes to Maja, the Night Court doctor, like the healer, and she ends up getting Maja to make her a serum, basically, so that every time, because she says that Asriel rubs his temples too much, so it's meant to get rid of all the headaches that everyone gives him, and he literally died.
It was so great. Oh man.
Because it even said that you have Morgan, even Cassian and Amren kind of they were taken back. They were like, yo, we've never really seen this side of him. And, they've been around him for 500+ years. So that even said a lot.
This is the first time in basically all their lives that they ever seen Asriel do that. And it's just amazing.
But yeah. And then, they continue to open presents. Nesta, after being basically begged to come by for days and days from Elaine and from Feyre, she does in fact show up. She shows up giftless. She basically just sits in a corner with her arms crossed, don't speak unless spoken to type thing. And once Solstice is basically over, she gets up and she leaves. Cassian chasing after her.
Yep. I have to admit, Cassian is a genuine good boy.
He is.
He's a genuine good boy who's head over heels over a very frustrating lady.
Well, I wonder if he knew that they were. Well, okay, this is a spoiler for the 5th book, so warning. I wonder if he knew they were mated before she did.
I'm pretty sure he knew.
I'm pretty sure because the way that he's acting, like he must know that she's his mate.
Yeah, and I think even on the next book, I probably had to like re-listen to it again, but I'm pretty sure that he knew for a while also.
Yeah.
But like he was kind of like not in denial, but in denial, or that, or just ignoring it, but just not sure, or more of just unsure what to do about it.
Right.
Which is pretty, classic romance trope, you know. But I am by this time in the book. Oh yeah, he definitely knew.
Oh, absolutely.
Even way before the war with Hybrid, just way before. I'm pretty sure it was at first sight. And then when them two had like some moments together, hidden in by the other parts of the book, that's when it was like, oh yeah, we know it, but we're just kind of dancing around it. And then the more they spend time with each other, the more they're like, God, can we just finally get it together? And yeah, and both of them are just their worst. I can just argue about those two for so long, but I'm gonna say that for Silver, because it's more towards Silver when you really see it, where they just constantly just dance around each other, both ruining it for each other, and I'm just like, oh dear God, and it's mostly on Silver, the next book.
Oh yeah, it's definitely mainly Silver.
Yeah, it's mainly Silver, but you see a little bit of that kind of here.
But yeah, and I mean, I guess to finish up the summary part of it, we finally get the long-awaited quote to the stars who listen and the dreams that are answered. Feyre and Rhysand say that to one another. Rhysand ended up getting Feyre her dream house in Valeris. They are actually working on it, building it up as she likes it. And then, for his big gift, she has agreed to bear his children.
It's so sweet.
It was, yeah. It's insane. But that's the book. All right, now we have to argue about shit.
Now is the time, guys. It is the time.
Like, kind of going
Violence,
off of what
get ready.
Yeah,
get ready,
Violet.
Violence.
She's just gonna pounce. But no, it's kind of like what I was saying at the beginning, though. This has become a trend to shit talk this book and basically not even read it because people are saying it's the worst written and it's... I don't really understand, so I can't really speak too much on it. But basically, like I said, it's clout to basically just like read all the other books, and then when it gets to this book, they show it on camera and they just throw it. And I am so sorry. I don't know who the fuck raised you, but me, the way I was raised, I would never disrespect someone like that openly, and you throwing a book like that is so mad disrespectful, and yet you're over there just acting like a little pissant fucking child laughing about it. Like, you're not cute, you're not funny, no one's laughing with you, no one thinks that you're this badass fucking content creator. You're nothing. You need to uninstall, like, delete TikTok. You need to stop because you're a fucking child. You're like the Chad of TikTok, bro. Like, you're not fucking cool.
Yeah, it's just... I mean, sure. what's funny is that it causes so many book sales, but I'm pretty sure that no author necessarily wants that sort of thing.
Well, and then that's the thing too, because like what going off what you're saying too, everyone's begging Sarah to finish the next book. Sarah, we want the book. Sarah, we want the book. Why the fuck would she ever want to write another book if that's all she sees on TikTok is you shitting on her previous ones?
Exactly, and it's just so undeserved.
Well, and then that's
Regardless of the sale, it's the dumbest shit in the world.
And the thing is,
Like,
I can always
why?
tell how new you are to the Akatar fandom, because here in the Akatar fandom, we are a family and everything, but I can tell who just jumped on the trend and who just jumped on the fandom because of this trend. Because actual, like, die-hard Akatar fans would never pull this fucking disrespect. They would never pull this disrespect. But all the people doing that, you've been in the fandom for 2 fucking days. You don't even know half of the fucking characters' names. And yet you have the audacity to sit there and say that this is the most poorly written book. You don't even know what the other books are even about. So how would you even know that this is the most poorly written book? Like, tell me.
Yeah,
You look fucking stupid.
It's dumb. No matter how many times, like, sure, we come across books more in our horror series that we don't like, and sure, we may have had strong feelings, but reading a book and not reading a book and making a judgment is by far the worst. Because
Exactly.
even if like we have that one forbidden book that we both absolutely hate, I know I did. I was physically ill from reading that book.
We still at least gave it a shot. We still read it.
I
We
still
didn't
read
just
it.
fucking dissed everything about it.
Without actually reading the substance, without actually, making a legitimate opinion.
Yeah.
Because it's so dumb to judge something without even knowing what's going on, to just doing it just because it's a trend. It's so stupid how things are nowadays.
It is. And with that being
It's
said,
aggravating.
it is very much so aggravating. And you can obviously tell that, I'm very passionate about this because I don't feel like this amount of disrespect should ever be in the book community. And unfortunately, the disrespect just continues. And that kind of leads me to my next event. The amount of sexism in the book community is so blatantly disgusting. So I'm going to be very fucking rude here, and I don't care. If you get offended, this is about you, and you need to fucking change because you are scum of the community. If I see one more fucking TikTok of some blonde bimbo-ass bitch coming out saying that these men do not need to be cosplaying Cassian, Rhysand, Azriel just because they don't match your standard of hotness, bitch, neither the fuck do you. You literally look like some big-ass raggedy toe. No one fucking likes you. No one chooses you. That's why you have to be a pick-me on the internet, putting people down because no one fucking likes you and no one likes your shitty-ass fucking attitude. I am so sick and tired of you women bringing all of these men down that just want to cosplay, that just want to have a good time, and that just want to share their passion for the same book series. And you know what? I have not seen one horrible cosplay from one of these men. I haven't seen a single bad one. The only bad cosplays are you and your fucking attitude, and I'm sick and tired of it. Because no, Feyre is not some overweight 40-year-old fucking woman, and no matter how many times someone hypes you up in the comments, you are never going to be her. So you sitting there telling someone cosplaying Azriel, saying that he's nothing, he should stop doing this, he should get off of TikTok, he should go kill himself, you are the fucking problem. You are the fucking problem, and I would never, ever, ever wish this amount of hate on another group of fucking people, and the amount of sexism, because if these men came out and said this to you, you would be up in fucking arms talking about how men don't respect us, how men don't do this or that and that. But you know what? Just because you're a woman and just because you get to walk around with your fucking tits hanging out, you think you have a right to constantly talk shit to these men. You do not. You are the fucking issue. You need to go, like, self-evaluate because I'm fucking done seeing this.
And going on a tangent here, on top of that, people always like and going with the whole sexist thing, and this might be kind of more less about the book and more about how the state of things are nowadays. Part of the reason why I kind of like left, I wouldn't say left TikTok. I rarely go onto it because I see this shit so often now as like trends. But people always go against how men always has the best, but we have it pretty bad too.
I
Each
agree.
person's perspective is unique, it's different. All because you don't have the same issues as men doesn't mean that it's less than what you have. You have unique issues that's obviously tailored for you, for women, and a woman's issue is not going to be the same as a man's issue because one's completely different. They're not the same. And sure, this could be controversial, things like that, but both sides each have their own, I guess, like burdens and issues. I mean, half the people don't know that, most, like mental health issues are super high towards men. And it is practically, I'm gonna say, canon to not give a shit about it. Because they're men.
Exactly.
All because we're men. Like what? Our mental health doesn't matter. All the weights of our on our shoulders, eventually crumbles down and collapse onto us. But now we're just supposed to walk it off because that's the trend, right? Or that's the ideal. But then people want to break those ideals and make things quote unquote equal, but still shortchanging one side or the other. I'm not just particularly pinning against the women, but also men too, because both sides have their ugly sides.
Right.
And unfortunately, the ugly sides are the most popular.
And it's like I said multiple times too. At this point, if I don't care, like I said, if you get offended, you're the issue. I mean, if you get offended, the only thing I can say is be a better fucking human being and stop being so fucking sensitive. But if you are watching this and if you're not getting offended, you know what, men, if you're out there, we have a Discord. I would love to see your Actar cosplays because you know what? Don't go out of your way to show these ugly ass fucking women, literally middle-aged women that are like, oh, I'm barely a day over 21. Bitch, you look 65. Like, you're not fucking fooling anyone. And yet your bio says you're fucking like 28. Dude, stop. Stop spending your time trying to impress these women that care nothing more than the fucking 8 men that they're currently trying to ride, when you can impress people that actually give a fuck about you, your mental health, this book, this fandom. Because you can find better human beings out there, and for the love of God, if you get these women in your comments telling you to go kill yourself and all this just because you're cosplaying like Rhysand or something, block them, ignore them. They don't fucking mean shit. They don't mean shit. They just need one person in their life to humble them, and then they're gonna be crying and they're gonna be doing the Nessa Tamlin fucking treatment, talking about nobody loves me, nobody will ever love me, everyone's so mean to me, I never understand why. Okay, bitch.
I mean, you're over here being toxic. I'll let you see this karma just, giving you practically what you deserve.
You know what?
Just saying.
And you know what? I never comment on videos. I did comment. And of course, this bitch was too much of a fucking pussy to respond. Of course, you want to talk a big talk. You want to make a big video about how men shouldn't be in the women's world and all this. But you didn't want to respond when people were calling you out for it. Interesting. But you know what? If you get anything from this book, or like from this episode, read this book. Do not be that person. Do not be that person. And you know what? If this is the first time ever watching one of our podcast videos, I hope you can see how passionate we are and how we do not allow toxicity in the book community to stand. I don't allow hate towards any group of people. I don't allow hate towards anything, anyone. If you like a certain book, good for you. If you like to cosplay, good for you. If you like this or that, good for you. But you're not going to sit there and you're not going to belittle or berate anyone else, because then everyone else in the world is too fucking scared to tell you, I will not be that person. I will tell you how it is, and if your feelings get hurt, oh fucking well, grow a pair of balls.
Yep. I mean, there really ain't much we can say about this. I mean, typically, we're about, pro, like, you do you sort of thing, but obviously in a good way. Like, let's say, like, you're somebody who's like trying to get into cosplay. We're not gonna, you're just gonna shit on you. We're gonna be like, oh, great job. We're gonna like enforce you. We're gonna give you like maybe some criticism, to help you out. Ideas or other things like that. We're more of the helpful type of community is what we would like to have in
Correct.
this sort of thing, especially in the book community. Let's say you are cosplaying, and sure, you may not have the physical body type of, Daddy Risan, but you're still passionate about the book. You love it. You're cosplaying a character that you love.
And I
And
would
it shouldn't
love
be
to see
filled
a
with hate.
Resand. Yep.
Oh, that'd be great.
I would love to see a Resand cosplay. 100%.
Oh yeah. And you don't have to be super buff, you can be average and it'd be perfectly fine. But we're not here for shaming that sort of thing. But those who do go to shame and have these double standards, that's the problem.
And the thing
That's
is,
the real
though,
problem.
like, I understand I'm gonna get a lot of hate because I'm not a quote unquote girl's girl. The thing about being a girl's girl, though, is I'm not gonna allow you to sit back and talk shit about everyone else and expect me to just pat you on the back like, good job, honey. That's not how I am. And that's not what a girl's girl should be. And if you have friends like that, you need better friends. But also going off of what Aqua said too, you don't have to be buff. You could be average size. The thing is, you might think you're average, but average to you might be phenomenal to someone else. So don't ever sell yourself short, because whatever you consider average might just be life-changing to someone else. And don't allow these fucking OnlyFans thoughts to tell you otherwise.
Exactly.
And
It's stupid. The whole situation is just stupid. It just ruins it all.
And since we're already being controversial and we're already gonna get canceled, I don't really give a fuck. Due to the red list that has been enlisted online, if you are one of the red list authors, just letting you know, you will be most likely seeing your book on Night Court Narrative. We will support you through and through. I will not allow them. I will not allow them.
We are
to berate
pro
you.
Sarah J. Mask.
But anyway, I digress.
That
Yes.
almost feels a little bit better, not gonna lie.
I have been holding on to this because, you know what, I am being the bigger person. I have all of their ats and everything, and I would like to put all of them on blast and just have them all in the comment section being like, you guys need to fucking do better. You know what, we're gonna be a bigger person, and if they come here, and like I said, if you get offended, you're the problem. I don't really care anymore, and I'm not going to beat around the bush just to make you happy. So, do better. Be better human beings, men out there. If you want to cosplay Akhtar, please send us photos. Or, if you don't want to send us photos in the comment section, link your TikTok. And I'll gladly go check it out, because fuck these bimbos. They don't give a fuck. They don't mean anything.
Exactly. Nope, they do not.
They mean
They're gonna
nothing.
be toxic. Let them be toxic. Let them wallow in their sewage, and just leave them there.
Exactly.
There you
But ultimately, though, this book was okay. So we read this book. The book was already a 5 out of 5. I did tell Aqua today, like on a side note, I actually went and I listened to the dramatized version. I've never listened to it before, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick it for this one. I've already read it, but I wanted to do like a re-listen so I could kind of, because we read this last year, like literally almost like 12 months ago ish.
Pretty much,
So
yeah.
I was like, you know what? It's been a year. I want to basically recap everything so that I could remember every detail. And the dramatized version was easily a 9 out of 10. The only reason why it wasn't a 10 out of 10 is I personally don't think Cassian's voice actor was all that great, but he does grow on you. He just doesn't sound like how I envisioned Cassian sounding in my head. So that's not a voice actor problem, that's a me problem. Like, I will wholeheartedly take that one credit on me because that's a me problem.
Yeah, at some point I do need to get the dramatized version of it at some point.
It was so worth it. It was so worth it. They don't do chapters though, so they actually have 5 chapters. So chapter 1 to 2 is like chapter 1 through like maybe 10-ish maybe, but they don't say chapter 1 and then start reading chapter 2. Like, it's like a whole movie, so they literally continue even when they go to quote unquote chapter 2, which is like 12 or something, whatever. They don't even say chapter 2. Like, it's like a whole movie from beginning to end, so you never know what chapter you're on. That's the only bad thing.
They just go straight into it.
Exactly. So chapter 1, you can't see me, I'm doing air quotes. Chapter 1 is like an hour and a half long.
Ah, I see.
But it's like 10 to 12 chapters.
So it's done very differently than what it normally.
It is, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, eventually I need to get it at some point.
Bro, I'm sweating. Like, this conversation like got me heated.
Oh man. It's actually pretty cold too outside now.
It is, and like
it is winter solstice weather, guys.
It is. But yeah, I mean, the only thing I can ever say is just please read the book. Don't go off of the trend, because if you go off the trend, you already know how I feel about you. So just read the book. If you didn't actually, like, if you read the book and you truly didn't like it, I fully understand. If you actually read it, didn't like it, but it wasn't part of the trend, I fully get it. And I would actually really like to know why. But if you did it for the trend, I don't care to hear you out. To be honest with you, don't even waste your breath. I'm going to be so real. I'm not that type of person that's rude like that, but I don't want to hear it. I don't fucking care. Like, you're not worth my time.
It's just, you're part of the problem at that point.
Exactly. So, just save your breath. I am so ready for the keyboard warriors to go ham on this video. Well, actually, fucking.
I know. I'm pretty sure if they do come, our comment ratio will go off the charts. So either way, it's a win-win.
This video is going to have like 2 likes and like 300 dislikes. I don't fucking care. See, if this video does turn out like that, where it's like 2 likes, 300 dislikes, and like 2,000 comments, you are the issue.
Pretty much.
Like, you're just proving our fucking point.
Either you're trying to do a weird way of what you call it, approving us or something. That's one thing. And the other, if you're like really against us, yeah, you're definitely a problem.
Right.
But hey, that's fine.
But yeah. We have one more book in the Actar series as of now. I will just give you a spoiler alert now. That is going to be, since the book is so long, we're going to do it in 2 different episodes. Kind of like what we did Aquamath and Aqua War. So that one will be 2 different episodes. I believe those episodes are coming in January. So we do have another month to go, but I believe those are January's videos. Because right now we're trying to do all Christmassy and cutesy, so...
Merry Chrysler.
Yep.
Christmas. I know Christmas. Christmas is my favorite.
You know, he actually helped me decorate the living room this time. You can see that?
Ooh. Yes. I love
you know, I had to
Christmas
do the Christmas one, or I had to do the Halloween one all by myself while Aqua just sat there with chips in his hand. This time I actually got some help. And Violet...
I pointed and told you which ones were off-centered, okay?
And at least Violet helped me hang the star.
Yeah.
You can see which one's lopsided. That was Violet.
Violet, you did a great job.
I just got a side-eye from the cat. It's fine.
Yeah, there's my good Violet. You're my good Violet. Yes, you are. Good cat. I taught Violet how to do that.
But yeah, next week...
That's probably why it's lopsided.
Probably.
Probably.
But next week, I am so very excited. We have a brand new book that actually just released a few weeks ago, actually. It's called How My Neighbor Stole Christmas.
It's so good.
I have
Uh,
not started it yet. I unfortunately ended up breaking my wrist, or I guess fracturing my wrist this past weekend. So I have not started it yet, but I am starting it first thing in the morning, and I have heard so many good things about it. I'm so excited. So tune in next
it's
week. That is that one.
especially the audiobook version. I'm gonna say now, it is so true what they say. It is so good. Like, don't get me wrong, the book is great, but the audio version just gives it that extra pizzazz, and it's
Well,
just
and the
oh,
thing is, I actually have the physical book, but ever since you said that, Explicit was very nice enough to credit me the book, so I have the audiobook and I will be listening to the audiobook.
I promise you, it is so worth it. It is so worth it. I cannot wait. I am dying, so dying to hear your thoughts.
Next week.
Look,
Uh,
look, I'm gonna say now. I'm going to give an early rating.
no, don't
No.
do it. No, Aqua, I will
give this.
I will cut your
give the
mic. I will
next
cut your
book-
mic.
I get this next book, and then you just see the whole YouTube video just get shut down. The channel's gone. The video is gone. I no longer exist anymore. Oh, man.
I was so
Oh.
ready to like just hit the button to mute your mic.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Okay, we'll wait. I'm just so
Well.
excited. I haven't finished the book, and I already have my rating. Like, I'm already like, I'm there. I'm so there. I'm so ready.
Oh
So
my god,
excited.
okay, I'm so excited. Okay. Well, before we get Aqua on a tangent that we cannot like come back from, this has been
Yeah.
Night Court Narrative.
Trust me, if you do not stop me now, I will continue. So we should probably end this now.
Oh, for sure. Well,
So good.
book community, you guys are dreadful. Do better. Not all of you, but like I said, if you get offended by what I just said, you are the issue. Do better. Be a better
Yes.
human being. It doesn't take but 2 seconds to think about what you're going to say and not be an asshole.
Exactly. So the vast majority of the book community.
Do better. Everyone
Anyway.
else, I hope you have a wonderful night. I hope both sides of your pillow is comfortably cool tonight. The others, I hope it's absolutely warm and I hope you step on a fucking leg. Okay, bye.
Bye, I'm Aqua, this is Night Court Narrative.
I'm not.
Elvish. I'm Elvish. I'm Elvish. You were gonna as though Aqua, weren't you?
I can't even remember my name. Okay, bye. I'm
Bye.
Elvish.
I'm Aqua.